Okay, so good morning to all. So we'll start with the hydraulic turbines. In the last class, we looked into the Pelton wheel especially, and today we'll look into the especially the reaction type of hydraulic turbines. So I put a simple sketch of it. So reaction turbines, we have both Francis as well as Kaplan. Maybe construction wise, maybe from the plant, the hydraulic power plant, no, it is very similar actually. What it actually? It has a very similar to, you have a gross head, and head will be much smaller compared to your Pelton wheel. Pelton wheel we used to have around 300 meters, 400 meters, 500 meters, something like that. Here it may be in 20 meters, 50 meters, or 100 or 200 meters, something like much lesser than your what used to be head for a Pelton wheel. At the same time, we do have a penstock. This is a penstock. Fine. This is a penstock which carries the water from your storage or reservoir to the turbine. And most of your reaction turbines, see, they are mounted vertically. The axis will be something like this is the turbine. See, this is the axis. Say, this is the axis. Your turbine will be like this, so that the fluid enters like this. Okay, and your generator will be somewhere mounted here. This is how the construction of your most of your reaction turbines used to be. Okay, and we do have a draft tube which which allows the recovery of the pressure. I will look into the what is the function of the draft tube, all those things. But draft tube allows the turbine to be placed above. So you have a tail race. What is the tail race? See, after the water comes out of your reservoir or what, where the water flows at the downstream, wherever it flows, no, that is called as a downstream. Okay, the downstream is called as your tail race actually. From there, and what will happen? Your turbine water after expanding in your turbine or making your turbine rotor to rotate, it will fall actually. It will have some amount of energy, which may be a little bit of kinetic energy or whatever it may be. What we want actually, we don't want to allow that kinetic energy to be lost. What we try to do is we'll try to recover that, convert into corresponding pressure head. So that is done using your draft tube. Okay. So draft tube is one which connects your exit of a turbine, reaction turbine, and it's then the tail race. And the exit portion of your draft tube will be immersed in the tail race. And the height under which your turbine is placed is called as a Z or whatever it may be. That is the height under which, so that will be the height of your draft tube, and that will be the height above which your turbine is placed above your draft tube. And we do have something called as net head. What is this net head actually? Net head is the head under which your turbine will be working. After excluding all your frictional losses, your kinetic energy losses at the inlet, and kinetic energy losses at the exit, all those things, or after neglecting all those things or removing all those things, whatever the head under which your turbine is placed, that is called as a net head. Okay, and the height under which your turbine is placed above your tail race. And roughly, most of the turbine power plants, if you look at this, number will be between 2 to 4 meters. Okay. Suppose if I take V1 as the velocity with which the fluid enters your turbine, and V2 is the velocity with which the fluid exits the turbine, and V3 is the velocity with which your fluid exits the draft. So what is my sign convention is actually, I am going to use the sign convention 1 to 2 as I will have the turbine, and 2 to 3 I will have my draft. So I will use the sign convention for all my numericals. Now onwards, 1 to 2 means it's a turbine, 2 to 3 means it's a draft. Okay, this is about how the reaction turbine, a power plant will look like. Now, when I come to the especially for a specifically for a Francis turbine, how it looks like. Okay, have a sketch here. This is for a Francis turbine. So look at it. The Francis turbine we have in our lab actually. See, we have something called as a scroll. Scroll casing means something which is spherical. Something which is spherical actually. And we have what is called as, these are the runner or blades or vanes. And I have told that the shaft is vertical. The shaft is vertically mounted. What will happen? Look at this. This is a kind of a turbine where, see, the fluid enters radially in both the direction. This is the direction under which the fluid will enter. Then it will take a turn. If it is exactly entering radially, it is a Francis turbine. Suppose the same fluid, in terms of little bit of modern Francis turbine, the fluid will enter at some angle. That is, it is neither radial nor axial. It's a mixture of both radial and your axial. So it is inclined or something. So that becomes your modern Francis turbine. And then the fluid goes out like this. The fluid goes out like this and reaches the tail race. Now this is a draft tube. So, and we have what is called as a guide vanes. See, these are the guide vanes. See, the guide vanes are used to open and close the quantity of water, discharge of water. And this is very helpful when I go for loading, that is full loading or quarter loading. Say, for example, if I have the guide vanes kept at 8 degrees, if it's open at 10 degrees, if it is closed at 2 degrees. So, depending upon the angle of your guide vane movement, the amount of quantity of water flowing in the turbine can be controlled. It is very similar to having some kind of a spear in case of a nozzle. In case of Pelton wheel, we had a what is called as a spear. So that is pushed in and pushed out so that the quantity of water striking the Pelton wheel we used to control. In the similar fashion, in case of a Francis turbine or reaction turbine, what we have is actually what we call as a guide vanes. So the guide vanes, they will guide the water to the your turbine. At the same time, they will be controlling the amount of or the discharge of flow of water into the turbine. Okay. And we have something called as regulating rod. This rod is something like they are all connected so that if I try to, they are connected to form of some kind of a lever. Look at this. This is the thing. If you look at this, you look at this, all these things, these are the rods. They are all connected. They are all connected. So if I move one particular lever, if I have a lever, so all the guide vanes will move in the same angle. They are all connected. So there is something called as a regulating rod, which will be connecting all the links, which is used to open or close your guide vanes. Now I have a side view. You can see that there is a cross section, cut section view of it actually. You can see the vanes, whatever I am showing, no, these are the vanes which are twisted. Look at this, they are almost like going in actually. The fluid will come, so the fluid will be coming like this and it will go inside like this. Okay, and I have to the left side, I have the isometric view of the spiral casing. See, this is not a circular in cross section. They are all spiral. Look at this. This is something, it will come like this and it's going in. So it's becoming smaller. So they're all spiral in cross section or isometric view of spiral casing is what I show. The casing is not circular. So it is bigger on one end. You can see this is a bigger here and this is smaller here. You can see. So, and this is called as scroll or spiral casing. So it is completely, and you can see how the guide vanes inside, how they are stacked, and your hub to stroud run the isometric view of the how inside actually. See, these are your blades, the vanes, what we call. Fine, how it is actually. This is with respect to the runner, and outside, see, this is where the fluid will come. There may be one set of okay. So I have shown the complete isometric view of the assembly. If you look at the assembly, we have what is called as a draft tube. Okay, the draft tube, we have different types. One is the conical type and elbow type and all. Don't expect it to be every time the draft tube is of a conical type. Okay, so we can have a draft tube. See, it has to serve the purpose. to recover the velocity or the kinetic energy. So that is the main thing of using a draft tube actually. So when I come to the draft tube analysis of a draft tube, what are the different types of draft tube? We'll do that. I will discuss on that actually. Now this draft tube is used to connect the exit of your turbine to your tail race. So that is. Now the next thing what we have to look at is now this is the construction wise. The construction wise is so simple. We have a scroll casing or so it is spiral in nature. We have guide vanes and we have the row runner, and the water can enter radially or it can enter mixed actually. It can be neither radial nor axial, and all the axis exactly vertical. So that is the main construction wise if you look at, that's how your Francis turbine looks like. Now let us try to analyze the Francis turbine. Analysis of Francis turbine. Okay, let's draw the velocity triangles for it, and this is your hub, this is your tip. Okay, fine. Now if this is the blade, let's assume that I will draw one blade. So this is the blade. The fluid enters from outside. Okay, the fluid enters from outside. So the fluid will be entering like this. So this will be my velocity. Okay, the fluid exactly it enters that particular thing. That will be your beta 2, whatever it may be. I have to look into that. So then I have your velocity with which your fluid will be entering. So that is your inlet velocity. So so if I try to, this will be the velocity. I can draw another way also. So this will be my V1. This is my VR1. This is my alpha 1. Okay, and I have your V1 is there. If I take the horizontal component and vertical component of it, so this will be my VF1, and this will be my VW from this point to this. This will be my BW1. Okay, I have this component. And where is my U? Where is my U actually? U is here. So I have my VR1, so I have my U here. Okay, this is my U2. This is my velocity. So the velocity triangle is something like this. This is the thing. Okay, this is the thing. And this is the velocity triangle. Where this is my V1, VR1, and U1. Okay, that's written in that particular form. Okay, this is the inlet velocity triangle. Now, when the fluid goes out, so here the fluid is exiting in the same fashion that it's axial. So what will happen? The fluid will be going somewhere like this. Okay, that means your whirl at the exit is 0. This is my VW2 is equal to 0. If that is the case, then your V2 is equal to VF2, and I have my blade actually, that is your VR2, and I have my U2. Okay, so this is with respect to hub. So this is, and what is the direction of rotation? The direction of rotation in this direction, omega, whatever it may be. So this is the direction of rotation. Now, one form of velocity triangle is what I have written. See, what I have written is one form of velocity triangle where your V1, see V1 in this direction. So, or this is for a something like if I have a curved vein like this, or I have another possibility where your curved vein will be in a different fashion. Draw that also. Hand side. Okay, so now I have another form, so where I can just check for the I am looking at all the possibilities. So what is it actually? The curved wings. I'm looking at other possibility also where this is my tape actually, and I have my blade will be like this. The blade can go like this also. The blade can go like this. Okay, the blade can be twisted like this. The blade can be twisted like this. In that case, what will happen to my velocity triangle? My velocity triangle will look something like this. Is my your VR1, and actually your V1 will be striking like this actually. Okay, this will be your V1, but if to construct a velocity triangle, I am taking like this. That's it. Okay, to construct a velocity triangle, I am taking in that fashion, and this is the direction of rotation of your U1. And if I try to take the components of V1, this will be my VF1, and this will be my VW1. So this will be my alpha 1, and this will be my beta. So this is another form of your the blade profiles. The blade profile will be sometimes it will be twisted. Say one I may be for if a regular transistor, the other may be for a your modern transistor motor. So the most of the transistor, why this particular thing is happening? See, your in this case your U1 is greater than your U2 because your D1 is greater than your D2. Okay, U1 is greater than your U2 because D1 is greater than D2. So I do have the tip diameter and your what is called as hub diameter. So D2 is my hub diameter and D1 is my tip diameter. See, most of this particular turbine, what we have is the flow is exactly axial. That means at the exit, my VW2 will be 0 or my alpha 2 will be equal to 90 degrees. This is what we see, alpha 2, and this is my beta 2, alpha 2 and beta 2. Alpha 2 is exactly 90 degrees. Most of the cases, almost all the Francis turbines. Okay, now what does it indicate? One represents the high pressure side or inlet, one represents the inlet, and 2 represents your outlet or exit for a triangle. These are the two possible cases what we are trying to look at. Now let us try to write the work done expressions for it. Already we have derived, we will write it again. So we are not going to derive it. So let first expression what we look into is actually the specific work expression for it. What is it actually? It is W by M, which is equal to VW1 into U1 minus VW2 into U2. Okay. Now, as VW2 is equal to 0, as VW2 is equal to 0, okay, what we can write? W by M is equal to VW1 into U1. Or if I want to write in terms of head actually, if I want to write or in terms of the head, if I write what it will be, H will be equal to your work done by M into G, or I can write VW1 into U1 minus VW2 into U2 by G. Because my VW2 is equal to 0, I can write it as VW1 into U1 by G. So this I call it as equation 1. This I call it as equation 2. So 1 is the specific work and the second one is the your head actually. So we need not derive it because already we have done the Euler equation. If someone has derived the equation or work done expression for your turbine means you have to get back from your whatever you derived in your Euler equation. I don't want to derive it. We have derived it. The same expression we are going to use it. Now the second thing what we have to look at, the second term what we have to look at is the discharge. The discharge for a Francis turbine. Okay. Here Q is equal to pi D1 B1 into VF1 is equal to pi D2 B2 into VF2. What is it actually? See now, if you look at the turbine, this is my side view, fine. So this is the turbine, and I want to put the blade. So blade will be something like okay. I want to put a blade, and if you look at the side view, it has a certain width actually. Okay, the blades will have certain. Let's say the blades will be like this. It has a certain width. So what we have to consider at any given point, if you look at what will be discharged at the inlet, it will be pi d1 into that particular width. So that is the at the inlet, and because see this is not constant. D1 and D2 they are not same actually. So we have to look at what is the discharge. Let's say discharge will remain the same. So it's given by and VF1 and VF2. Most of the cases, if they are same, or maybe if there's a friction, if there's a friction is there, VF2 may be slower than your VF1. So that may be the case. So what we look at is actually we try to write the expression in this way, where your D1 and D2 are the tip and hub diameters. Okay, then B1 and B2 are the width of the blades, width of the blade at tip and hub. Hub means to tip is this thing, and VF1 and VF2 are the flow velocities at tip and hub. So this is 1, this is 2. This is what we are going to need to look into. And hydraulic efficiency. So the third type of expression what we have to look at is the hydraulic efficiency. Hydraulic efficiency. So what is this hydraulic efficiency or your vane efficiency? It's given by your work done by net head, or this is your head available. What is your energy available? That is your we can call it head available. Head available to the net head which is used. Net head actually. So what is this actually head available? This is VW1 into U1 by G divided by H, or I can write the hydraulic efficiency is equal to VW1 into U1 divided by G into H. Now, what about the other efficiencies what we have seen? So we have seen the volumetric efficiency, we have seen the mechanical efficiency, and we have seen the overall efficiency for the Pelton wheel or other types of things. It remains same as discussed in Pelton. As discussed in Pelton wheel, this is the same. So what is volumetric efficiency? It is the volume of water available to volume of water supplied. What is mechanical efficiency? It is the power available at the shaft to power available at the rotor. O/F means it is the power available of the shaft to the what is the energy supplied to the your turbine. Okay. So that particular expressions, whatever we discussed, no, that remains same. Now, the next type of turbine, this is about your Francis turbine. See, Francis turbine expressions are very similar. Here, the only thing is when the numericals come, actually, we have to put the corresponding. It is very similar to your centrifugal compressor or your turbo, whatever your pump we discussed. The only thing is actually what it was exit in case of a pump or a compressor. It is now it is an inlet. Our energy availabilities or your velocity triangles are going to change in case of your Francis turbines. Okay, we'll move to the next type of turbine, that is Kaplan, or it's also called as propeller turbine. Next type of turbine is the Kaplan or the propeller turbine. So what is it actually? Now, it is very similar to your Francis turbine. The only major difference, this also having a scroll casing and all. The major difference, what we look at is, it's the way it is runner blades are constructed. They are bigger, heavy actually. They are heavy. Now, given the zoomed view of your Kaplan turbine, you can look at this. The construction of these blades will allow the flow to be exactly axial. Every time the fluid flows over your turbine, this remains axis or parallel to the axis of its rotation. So in case of the Francis turbine, what we used to see the fluid entering either radially or at particular angle, inclination. But here, at every time the fluid is perpendicular, fluid is exactly parallel to the rotation of your Kaplan turbine. So that is the major difference in case of the, and this particular thing, it's also so it is used for propelling. Propelling means to give some kind of a motion. So whatever the type of turbine, maybe you can see in ships and all. So we use the similar technology. So that we use a similar kind of technology to move or to give some kind of a propulsion movement to the your ship or all. So that's why it's called so similar. The construction wise is very similar. That's why it's called as propeller turbine. Now, the propeller turbine, it has a shaft. Look at the construction. If you look at it, it has a similar to your Francis turbine. It has a guide vanes. You can look at this guide vanes. I have seen. I have written both this, the sectional view as well as the side view. Everything I have written. You can see the fluid enters like this and it goes. So we have to look at why it is called as axial flow. When the fluid is flowing over the blade, it is exactly axis. So look at this. This is exactly parallel to the axis. That's why it is called as axial flow turbine. See, what is to give this axial flow kind of a condition? What we do is actually the guide vanes will guide the water in such a way that it is exactly by the time it reaches the blades or vanes, it is parallel to it. So guide vanes are operated once again very similar to your Francis turbine to control the quantity of water flowing into your turbine. Okay, into your turbine or discharge, whatever we call. So it can be at some 2 degrees, 4 degrees, or 6 degrees, or 8 degrees, whatever it may be. At the same time, the guide vanes not only control, it gives the direction to the fluid entering your Kaplan turbine. Okay. Now, see, we have what is called as the boss. See, it's also called as hub, the hub or boss. You can see this is the boss, or it's also called as hub. What we try to do actually, to the boss, the guide vanes, or you see, to the boss, your runner blades are fixed. You can see this is your runner boss or boss, whatever it may be. You can see that this is your boss. So that is, you have your inner diameter. So that is your boss diameter, which is D. It is something like I have flow between two concentric cylinders. Are you getting? Here, in case of a Kaplan turbine, the flow is exactly in between two concentric cylinders, where capital D is the diameter of your run or your blades, what we have, and D is the boss diameter or hub diameter. The flow is exactly in between this particular, so two concentric cylinders. And if you look at from the top, actually, your blades will look something like this. Your blades will look something like this. This is how your blades look like. And I can give a little bit of twist to these blades. Even the blades, it is not fixed actually. There are situations where the blades are given some kind of a twist, given maybe 4 degrees, 2 degrees, 3 degrees, some kind of a movement to control the amount of power produced, depending upon the loading conditions. We'll use guide vanes also moved, and you have the your runner blades also, it is moved. So both the ways we try to use to control your this thing. So let me write that if here the flow is similar to flow in between concentric cylinders, and that is your flow area, and which will be used for your calculation of your discharge. Fine, which will be used for calculation of your discharge. Okay. Now, when you try to analyze the Kaplan turbine, so analysis of Kaplan turbine. How the velocity triangle? Is there any difference between the velocity triangles what we had for your Francis 2 year? No. So if you draw your inlet triangle, this will be your inlet triangle, a V1, this will be your VR1, U1, and this is your alpha 1. And if I draw the components of your U, or components of your V1, so this will be my VF1, and this will be my VW1 velocity, and this will be your beta. This is your inlet velocity triangle. So inlet velocity triangle. This will be your inlet velocity triangle. What will be the outlet velocity? Outlet velocity triangle, the flow is axial. Okay. So that is the case. So what will happen? This will be completely a straight line. So your V2 is equal to VF2, or your VW2 is equal to 0. And what will be your alpha? Alpha is exactly 90 degrees. Your alpha 2 is equal to 90 degrees, and I'm just writing the velocity triangles. That's it. So this will be VR2 and beta 2, and this will be your U2. Okay, VW2 is equal to 0 means no whirl at the exit. Okay. So what will be the work done expressions? So work done expression is once again similar work done expression and all. The first thing is some of the expressions. Your specific work W by M is equal to VW1 into U1 minus VW2 into U2. As VW2 is equal to 0, I can write it is VW1 into U1 is my specific work. What about the discharge? So discharge Q is equal to your flow area into velocity of the flow. And I have told that your flow area is equal to, very similar to flow between your concentric cylinders, pi into d square minus d square by 4, or pi by 4 into d square minus d square. Or what is this d? D is equal to tip diameter or outer diameter, and small d is your boss diameter or hub diameter. Capital D is the tip diameter or your outer diameter. Small d is equal to boss diameter or hub diameter or inner diameter. Okay. Use this to calculate your area of the flow. Okay. So in case of your Hadal Kaplan turbines, we need to look into, there are certain ratios. What is one of the such ratios is the speed ratio. What is the speed ratio? It is equal to, already we have defined, it is U by V1, where V1 is the velocity or absolute velocity. Okay, V1 is the absolute velocity and U is your blade velocity or distance. Now, most of this, when you are designing, your phi value ranges from around 1.5 to 2.2. This is a design actually. And I can calculate the V1. So V1 can be calculated using this particular formula, that is based on your net head. Based on your net head, I can calculate it. Okay. Sometimes your velocity of the flow has to be calculated based on what is called as flow ratio. We have one more thing, what is called as the flow ratio, which is psi, which is the ratio of velocity of the flow to your absolute velocity. Okay. And your psi is, from the design perspective, this number is varying from 0.35 to 0.75. If I substitute for V1 is equal to root 2h, I will get it. So this will be phi is equal to U by square root of root 2h for a speed ratio. For flow ratio, it is psi is equal to Vf by square root of root 2h. And the diameter ratio, we have what is called as diameter ratio. That is the diameter ratio of hub to tip. Okay. Design, if it is not given, I can take this number from 0.35 to 0.6. Okay. So these are something like the design parameters for your Kaplan turbine. So we need to take the speed ratio, flow ratio. So usually we take flow ratio to be around 0.5. If nothing is given, we take around phi is equal to 0.5, and d by d also it's around 0.4 or 0.5. If nothing is given when you are doing it actually. Or if you are designing it, I can go for 0.35. So 0.35 means I have a smaller hub diameter, and if I go for a 0.6, I have a bigger hub diameter. So based on the condition wise, based on the quantity of the water that is flowing, we try to use this. So this is about your Francis turbine and your Kaplan turbine. And analysis wise, we have to put the velocity triangle very similar to that what we have done in earlier, and we have to analyze it. Okay. So the last part still what we have left out is the draft tube. So if there are any doubts, I can take. Otherwise, I'll proceed with the draft. Okay. So what is a draft? Let me write the definition. Okay. What is a draft tube? It is a device. It is the device used to recover the kinetic energy It is a device used to recover the kinetic energy of the fluid exiting the reaction turbine, to be very precise, because draft tubes are not used in impulse turbine. And this is first purpose. So it is the first purpose is it's used to recover the kinetic energy of the fluid exiting the reaction turbine. And the second purpose, it also allows the reaction turbine to be installed above the tail, above the tail. Look at this. First is it has to recover the kinetic energy of the fluid exiting the turbine, the first purpose. The second purpose, to be installed or installation of the reaction turbine above the tail base. So it serves two purposes. Okay. Now construction wise, I have put few diagrams I have put here. Okay. What are the different types of draft tubes used? Conical draft tube is one type of draft tube. That means it is looks like a cut section of a cone. Okay, cut section of the cone where we place the turbine at the top. Okay, this is the turbine at the top, and at the bottom we have the tail race. Okay, at the bottom we have the tail race. And the second one we have the elbow type of a draft tube. What is this actually? It looks like a conical draft tube, or it can be other sections also. Okay, what it looks like an elbow. That means it's a bent a little bit. It has a little bit of curvature. We are going to give a little bit of curvature. And what is the advantage of when we go for an elbow draft tube? Elbow tubes actually. So whenever we have some kind of a space restrictions, and I need to recover large quantity of kinetic energy, the simple type of elbow tube is used. And the third type is what we use is actually a Moody's type, where one inlet to the draft tube is taken or divided into n, that is 1 or 2. It will be 2 exits in the draft tube itself. Okay, we have it. You can look the construction as you can look at it. That means it has one inlet and 2 exits in the draft tube. And the draft tube, we have the your elbow type. No, we have the circular inlet and rectangular outlet. This draft tube is used where I have some kind of a height restrictions. The height restriction is there, and also I need to insert or immerse the significant portion of your draft tube in the tail race. So I have the height restrictions is there. What I will do, I will place the draft tube. That means the circular part is there. That will be just butting with your turbine exit, and the exit of your draft tube, your rectangular the outlet or whatever it may be, the majority of the portion is completely submerged in your tail race. So when I have this kind of a condition, we go for it actually. Now, there are certain restrictions with respect to angles. So what should be the angle of your draft tube? You can see I have written some numbers. The angle, if it is greater than 5, will induce losses. Okay. You can see a single conical type or elbow type or whatever it may be. Look at it, all those things. This angle plays a role. That means you should not have the angle of, so what we have actually, your angle is nothing but we have a vertical thing, angle of your divergence, we call it angle of divergence. It should not be too much. So a design point is roughly around 2 to 4 degrees or 3 degrees. Most of the draft tubes come with around 3 or 4 degrees. If it is more than 5 degrees, my kinetic energy recovery won't be that effective. To improve the effectiveness of your kinetic energy, we go for a draft tube with less angles. Okay. Now, we need to analyze this particular draft tube. So, we need to analyze this particular draft tube. To analyze this draft tube, we will take the help of a Bernoulli equation. Okay. Analysis of draft tube. Analysis of draft tube. Okay. Now to analyze it, actually, I will try to write a cone like this. Cone. This is my exit, which is completely inside the tail race. Where is the tail race? The tail race will come something like this. So this is where I have my tail race. Okay. And this is the axis of your turbine, which will coincide with the axis of your draft tube. Okay. This is your turbine exit, which is placed there. And what is the pressure here? This is the P2, because already I have taken 1 to 2 as the turbine. So 2 to 3 as your exit. So now this is my 3. So this is my P3, which should be your P atmospheric. Fine. It should be a P atmospheric, whatever it may be. And I have some reference. So if you want, you can take some reference. So some reference. Okay, here some reference. And this will be my Z3, and this is your P3. Let me call that as P3, and this is your Z1 or Z2. Sorry, this is your Z2 from your reference. Okay, and this is your H3, and this is your H. We call it as H or H2 or whatever it may be. Okay, and this is your tail race free surface. Okay, let's apply the Bernoulli's equation. Apply the Bernoulli's equation between 2 and 3. So this is my 2 and this is my 3. Okay. What it is actually, this is, so what is the pressure? We have P2 by rho g, that is the pressure head, divided by, plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. I am writing in terms of head actually. Then P3 by rho g plus V3 square by 2g plus Z3. This is an ideal condition. If there is a frictional losses, I can put HF. Okay. This is with respect to entry, and this is with respect to exit, and these are the frictional losses. Okay. Now, what is this P3? P3 by rho g is equal to, you have the atmospheric head plus your H3. Fine. So let me call, if I call this as equation number 1, let me call this as equation number 2, and I'm calling, so if I call this as H, let me call this as, instead of calling H2, let me call this as H. Okay. What is H actually? H is the height above the tail race where turbine is installed. Okay, H is the height above which your turbine is installed. Now let us rewrite this equation. Okay, P3 I'll substitute for P atmosphere. So if I rewrite the equation, what it will be? This would be P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2 is equal to PA by rho g plus your H3 plus your V3 square by 2g plus Z3 plus HF. Okay. Now if I take P2 by rho g left hand side, rest all I will remove to the right hand side. That is, I have PA by rho g minus, see if I take this to the right hand, this will be V2 square minus V3 square by 2g minus, you have all the quantities, that is your Z2 minus Z3 minus H3 plus H. Okay. Now what is this actually? If you closely observe, what is it actually? Z2 minus of all these things, Z3 and your H3 is your H. This is your H. Okay. Z2 minus Z3 minus H3, if you do, that is your H. That is the head under which your turbine is working. So what I will write? I will write P2 by rho g is equal to PA by rho g minus V2 square minus V3 square by 2g minus H plus H. Okay. Now, so let me call this as expression number 3. Let me call this as some expression number 3. Is it possible for me to represent if head loss due to friction can be expressed in terms of kinetic energy loss? What it will be? HF will be equal to your V2 square minus V3 square by 2g. That means proportionately. It will be in terms of that thing. If I take that as some K, percentage of that particular thing, HFC, if V2 square minus V3 square is the kinetic energy, HF in terms of that particular thing, that is, this will be K percentage, 10% of it. If I write it, 3 can be simplified. So I can write it as P2 by rho g is equal to PA by rho g minus H minus of 1 minus K into V2 square minus V3 square by 2g. Okay. Now, what is this actually? That is your draft tube efficiency. So 1 minus K, I can call that as your draft tube efficiency. If I am able to reduce the value of K, if the value of K is reduced, say if it is only 2%, 3%, then my recovery will be higher. So I can write it. Let me write that also. Lower the value of K, higher the efficiency. So this is the expression what we have. So this is the expression. Now, if you look at it, actually, the whole to the right hand side, the whole whatever we have, no, this is the K actually whatever we have. The whole thing I can call it as some